Namaskar. It's indeed my honor and a privilege to welcome Amit Sir's Shri Milind Parande as my esteemed colleague Rudraji has also introduced him. And in fact, it is really a very nice coincidence that as we are commemorating the 150th anniversary of our national song, Vande Mataram, we have the benefit of Milinji being here in Guyana. He's visiting us, and he very graciously accepted my suggestion to come and share his thoughts. So this morning, in fact, I had the privilege, thanks to Swamiji, we attended a wonderful event, Hindu Temples Conference, hosted by Swamiji and the Saraswati Vidya Niketan, and coordinated by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. So Milinji is also here in connection with that conference, and I requested him that in the morning after I listened to his address at the conference, I requested that this is something which we need to share more widely because everyone will benefit from those ideas and those thoughts. So without further ado, let me begin, Milinji, with the first question. As I understand from the remarks and the introduction this morning, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad was re-established in Guyana in 2015, and since the year 2022, you have been regularly visiting Guyana and also other Caribbean countries very regularly. Over the years, did you encounter any change or evolution as to how people perceive and practice Hindu Dharma in this region compared to the perceptions and practices which you might have encountered in other parts of the globe where you visited?
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me here. Actually, for me, since the time I have come here in 2022, it has been a learning experience. For the simple reason that the way the Hindu society in all these 3, 4 and other countries, the efforts they made to preserve their heritage is really something that one wonders under what challenges, under what difficult circumstances our ancestors who were brought here, they protected Dharma tradition without any contact with the main motherland. There were many restrictions, there were many atrocities, there were many difficulties, but still maximum number of our population retained their Dharma tradition Sanskriti. That is something that is really all the Hindus all over the world can really learn from. But since the time I have come here, I thought that the society here is also worried about many things. And slowly the Hindu population is reducing due to many problems. And unfortunately, except for Suriname, most of the countries have forgotten, the Hindu society has forgotten their language. So Surinamese Hindus have tried to protect it, they have kept it. So that is really commendable, and that thought is there in everybody's mind in the countries when I was traveling. And they are worried that the next generation, what will happen? Secondly, like in Guyana, there are some challenges because unfortunately there were problems like suicides. They were in a very large number, and in that Hindus had a very big share. So that is something that is worrying the Hindu society. Even problems like liquor and other things that are also there. So when I was going everywhere, these were the problems and many more that were really worrying the society, people in the society. And that is why definitely what is commendable is that so many temples, so many educational institutes were created here, because of which the tradition and dharma was protected. And now that thought is coming in the today's generation, that like the work our ancestors have done, what will be our role in protecting our tradition and our dharma? So that thought is really a welcome thought, that people are worried about protection, people about retaining our traditions. So Vishwa Hindu Parishad is working all over the world in various countries. Vishwa Hindu Parishad is working in around 32 countries. And mainly Vishwa Hindu Parishad is formed according to law of the land. Whichever country it works within the framework of the constitution and the land's law. So as you phrased it, Pujya Swamiji took a lead in that 2015 again Vishwa Hindu Parishad work was tried to be established here, and slowly with everybody's effort now some work is going on. And that work will be to increase Hindu awareness that what is our tradition, and I think language is a vehicle of our Sanskriti that everybody has to remember. If we lose language, we lose much of our Sanskriti. The language you use, then the values change, because values are also associated with a particular language. And that is why now there is an eagerness everywhere to relearn. So we'll have to help that. And it is actually my request that the High Commission should also play a role, that how we can help in increasing awareness, learning of Hindi also. And secondly, many issues are there where help is required. It is good thing that Guyana's financial status is increasing now. It is becoming better. And so Vishwa Hindu Parishad would also like to work here in creating this awareness and helping the Hindu society here. And more Guyanese Hindus, if they take up this responsibility, then it will help in speeding up this total prakriya or the situation, improving this situation. So it is my request to everybody that it is the duty of every Hindu that they should work for the whole society. Many of them are working for different organizations, different institutions, different causes. That is very nice. But there must be a section of the society who will think about the whole society. And not only think, but give time, invest time for that. That is the sacrifice that is required by today's generation. The sacrifice like as our ancestors did. Again, we are in the same boat. The challenges of today are different. So we have to give answer to that. And I am very hopeful that that will happen in Caribbean. Because all over the world, there is Hindu resurgence, and Hindu resurgence is good for the humanity. Because this is the only thinking that will give answer to all the problems that is faced by humanity. The competition, the violence, the aggression of many thought systems. There is lot of sorrow, there is lot of violence, warlike situation all over the world. And it is only Hindu philosophy that will think about the whole world and the whole humanity. Like we say, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is the basic thing that Hindu philosophy thinks. But for that, Hindus will have to be strong. Hindus will have to be successful. And Hindus will have to be rich also. Because only philosophy will not be respected. Only that philosophy is respected which along with tapa and tapasya and jnana, it has success as well as wealth and power. And that is why Hindu society, there must be a resurgence so that we can bring this success, this strength and power, as well as this wealth with this philosophy. And in that direction, Vishwa Hindu Parishad will also like to work with the sections of the Hindu society in each of these country, whole of the Hindu societies, all these countries.
Thank you, Milindji. I think it was a very, I would say, comprehensive response in terms of what we can do. And I'm really delighted, Milindji, to also share with you that at the High Commission and also Swami Vivekananda Cultural Centre, we have in fact realized, as you mentioned in your remarks, about the importance of language. So we are in fact thinking of reintroducing Hindi classes, which would be run through the Cultural Centre. And we are also looking forward to potential partners, especially the temples, the mandirs, because we feel that the mandirs are the places where people come, especially children come, and they would have or they would benefit from this opportunity.
In one country, somebody gave me a suggestion that can the High Commission work with NGOs? That is one thing.
Yes.
And secondly, from the general Hindu population here, if somebody wants to become a Hindu teacher, that person should be given scholarship.
Yeah.
So that will be a protsahan, so to say, an encouragement for having a battery of Hindu teachers in Guyana. Or some university seat should be sponsored by the High Commission.
Yeah.
Something like that can be done.
Yeah. So Milindji, just to share with you, in fact, that is already being done by the Government of India. In fact, the Ministry of External Affairs, especially our Indian Council of Cultural Relations, they do offer scholarships, and in fact, many people have benefited from Guyana and other places as well. Of course, we are not aware about any one applying for the scholarship for Hindi in particular, but people are going for other cultural studies as well. And in addition to that, I'm also very happy to share with you that we have, of course, the provision of chairs and any other suggestions. Your suggestion about NGO, in fact, that is again something which we feel is very appropriate, and we have a system of introducing local resource person. So they would be co-opted, their support is most welcome, and we can also use those services to start or to begin. So Milindji, let me come to the next question. In fact, in your address this morning, you made a mention of something which is again something very near and dear to our hearts and minds, and that was the consecration and subsequently the inauguration of the Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi temple. Many of us recently witnessed the Dwajarohan ceremony, as they call it. Holy flag was raised by Honorable Prime Minister and the Sant Samudaya. And during that address, and I was very happy because Swamiji also made a reference to that about Macaulay in his address. So let me take the opportunity to also ask you to just to understand the thinking and the thought behind that, because Honorable Prime Minister mentioned about the need to decolonize the mind. So in that context, do you think that we are still not able to overcome the wounds of colonization and oppression, and because of that, this kind of colonization of mind, though physically we may be free, but the mind still feels imprisoned? And what can organizations like Vishwa Hindu Parishad do, or they are already doing, to revive this asmita or pride of our countrymen?
See, the Hindi word for freedom is swatantra, and actually it should be interpreted as swatantra, and that is why now a thought is becoming very strong in Bharat that we gained political freedom in 1947, but we did not gain Swatantra. What does it mean is that the judicial system that Bharat is following is a Western judicial system. The financial system that we are following is a Western financial system. The political system that we are following is a Western political system. The education system that we are following is a Western education system. So all the institutions that were there before 1947, same institutions are continuing. So we have gained political freedom, but Hindu centric tantra or institutions or systems have not been implemented. Pujya Swamiji mentioned that outside when he was speaking, that one fallen lord is replaced by the communist, so to speak. And that is why now, as the thinking is going on and as the political dispensation has changed in Bharat, now more and more Bharat Kendric thinking and things that are true to Bharatiya thinking, philosophy, tradition are coming into practice. And that is what real Swatantra means. And Rama Janma Bhumi is one of the examples of that asmita. Because Rama Janma Bhumi happening now is the assertion of the Hindu asmita in Bharat. See, the history of Bharat is Hindu's history. But it was not depicted like that, as he mentioned Aurangzeb. So there was a concept before that was proposed of a Ganga Jamuna Sanskriti. That is a mixed Sanskriti. But if you have gone to Prayagraj, where all the rivers come together, there is a Triveni Sangam. One is Ganga, one is Yamuna, and third is the secret river that is Antas Salila, it is called, that flows below is Saraswati. So after these rivers come together, what is the name of the real river? It is not Ganga Jamuna, it is Ganga. And that is why Bharat Sanskriti is single Sanskriti. It is not a milli-julie mixed Sanskriti, it is not. And that fact one has to understand. But why after 2 rivers and 3 rivers have come together and the name is Ganga? Why is it Ganga? Because the Gangatva of Ganga is very strong. And that is why by absorbing everybody, then Ganga remains Ganga. Her purity remains same. And that is why the Hindu society must increase its digestive power. And as it is increasing its digestive power, it is expressing its inner strength. Then what you expect about Asmita, you will see it happening. And whatever changes you are seeing in Bharat, they are because this Asmita is, there is a Punarjagran. There is a reawakening of it is happening. Some people get afraid of it. But Hindu thinking is never against anybody. Nobody should feel afraid because Hindu Asmita is becoming, it is awakening. Because it is the only Hindu who talks about Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina. No philosophy in the world thinks about Vishwa Kalyan. They always divide the world. Hindu philosophy does not divide the world. Hindu Dharma does not divide the humanity. So nobody should be worried about Hindu awakening. Hindu hit is not against anybody. That is the basic philosophy. And I think Rama Janmabhoomi has played a very important role. In this, it is like a mirror in front of the Hindu society, that they have recognized who they are. And Rama Janmabhoomi temple, the deity is Maryada Purushottam Ram. This, what you call the Birud or Visheshan or the special thing that we call Ramji, Maryada Purushottam, those Maryadas are the values that are expounded by Hindu philosophy alone. And Ramji is the symbol of that. So when you look at that temple, you have to remember all those values. That is the importance of the temple. It is not only a vigraha, it is not only a murti. It is epitomized by everything that Bhagwan Sri Ramji stood for. Ramo Vigrahavana Dharma. So that Dharma is Ram, Ram is Dharma. So remembering that Hindu Asmita is reawakened and it will be for the betterment of the humanity.
Thank you, Milindji. Uh, in fact, let me come now to, in a way, the purpose of your present visit and your pravas, your journey to Guyana. Uh, I think this morning, VHP and the Saraswati Vidya Niketan organized the Hindu Temples Conference. So, is it a global practice or it is something specific to this region? And if you would be kind enough to share with us the major takeaways from your deliberations.
See, Yogi Arvindji and many others have repeated this, even Annie Besant said it, that Hindu society is a Dharma Prana society. What it means is that Pran is the life force. The life force of Hindu society is Dharma. And if Hindu society dissociates itself from Dharma, Hindu society will die. And that is why this Dharma Jagaran, this awakening of the Dharma feeling, this Asmita is very, very important. In the Hindu society, there are 4 or 5 systems which keep the Dharma awake or they spread it. One is our Acharyas, our Sadhus, our Santa. That is one established system. Second is our Mandir or temple system. Third is our Pujari, our Pandit system. Fourth is our festivals. And fifth is our Sanskrit because it holds all the knowledge. And so, over a period of 1,500 years, Hindu society has faced continuous aggression. And all these systems have become weak from within except the Sadhu society. So Sadhus and Dharmacharyas came together to establish Vishwa Hindu Parishad so that Vishwa Hindu Parishad can work on this. And so how we can rejuvenate all these systems, temple, pujari, our festivals, our Sanskrit language, everything, that is an ongoing process in Bharat as well as world over. So this is not something that is special for Guyana. We are doing it, we have done it many times in America, we have done it many times in Bharat, we are continuously doing it. Already in Suriname it has been happening for last 3-4 years. So Guyana, it was the first time, and as today's response was, we think we will continue with this effort.
Wonderful. My commendation, in fact, also Pujaniya Swamiji and everyone, Vishwa Hindu Parishad and everyone who was associated with that conference. Milindji, you made a very interesting reference in your remarks that if we take the dharma away, then, and I know you don't like the terminology of Hinduism, in the morning you explained why it is. So if we take, you mentioned that if we take it out, then we won't survive. Now, that brings me to a question that do you think that there has been a generational shift in terms of how our elders, older generation used to perceive and practice the Hindu Dharma and how it is being done today? And especially, do you think that our youth needs to be made more self-aware or keener in terms of learning the essence of this Dharma in order for its continued propagation and progress?
See, actually, there is nothing to be worried about in this. This is how it works every time. Dharma, one definition of Dharma is value system. Dharayate iti Dharma. What that sustains the society is also Dharma. So now, you don't have to change the values. Values will be the same. But you have to suggest a system that is proper for today's time. And you have to speak today's language. That is the challenge in front of us. It is not about choosing or finding new values, but it is about giving a system that is suitable for today's time. See, to give an example, before 1947, I'll give an example of Bharat, that a Hindu can marry many times without breaking the first marriage. It was accepted. But after 1947, that rule was changed. So polygamy was not allowed. So the rule changed. But what we will see, what was the principle? Principle was about the purity of marital life. The marital relationship, there should be honesty. So there was a framework before 1947. That framework was changed. The value was not changed. So we'll have to give a new system according to the new time. Those are the things that we have to do. So today the parents will have to learn to tell their children what is Dharma in today's language. It is not the failure of the children or the failure of the youth that they are not getting attracted to the Dharma. It is your and my generation that has to learn to speak today's language or lingo. Lingo will be a proper word, I think. So how we can talk, because today's children and youth are asking the why. Why does Hanumanji has a pooch? Why does Ganeshji has a sun? Those are the questions. Why should we do this? Why should we do that? So only read this book, read that book is not sufficient. We'll have to explain and interpret our symbolisms. Where it is successful, because you will see many of the new, I should not say, dharmic paramparas that are coming up, they have lakhs of youth behind them. You see Shri Ravi Shankarji, you see ISKCON, you see Chinmay Mission, you see Mata Amrutananda Mahima, you see Jaggi Vasudevji, you see many, I can just keep on counting the names. Ramakrishna Mission, very, very intellectual and well-to-do people, and young people are going after them. So it is not the youth, it is about explaining to them in today's language. And we have such a variety of upasanas that there is some upasana for everybody. That is the beauty of our dharma.
Thank you, Milindji. That brings me to another question which I think many might have in their mind, in terms of, is there something as a Hindu identity and a Bharatiya identity? Are they the same? Are they mirror images? Or they are two different things? In that context, do you think that how we, and you of course mentioned in your remarks a number of times in terms of our philosophy or our worldview. So in that context, in fact, I would also like to ask you that do you think there is any difference, any fundamental difference in terms of the Hindu worldview as to how we visualize the world and how some of the other prominent religions, they visualize the world?
Principally, there is no difference in Bharatiya and Hindu. There is no difference. But when we can make that statement, when you accept that the Sanskriti of Bharat is Hindu Sanskriti, the history of Bharat is Hindu Sanskriti and Hindu Itihas and history, and then the value system of Bharat is Hindu. If we accept that, then there is no difference. But somebody wants to speak about Bharat and they have allergy about Hindu, then both words are not the same. So that is why, see, they used to say, some of you will understand, we used to get ghee, ghee. Or what is it called here? Ghee only? So they used to say around 100 years ago, give me ghee. Then somebody introduced vegetable ghee into the market. It was called dalda. So then everybody started saying, give me shuddha ghee. Give me pure ghee, because they wanted to distinguish it from dalda. So some people thought that ghee from this town is more pure. So they added another word to that. Give me shuddha ghee from that town. It is like that. So there is really no difference, but unless they say in English that if you want to talk, define the terms first. Otherwise, I'll speak something, you'll understand something. There is a problem. So we should be talking using the same terms, then Bharati and Hindu are one. Otherwise, we better define the terms and then talk.
Thank you, thank you. Milindji and I think Swamiji also of course mentioned about it, but we have amongst us also a very reputed scholar, Dr. Sindali Maharaj ji. She is visiting and I had the privilege of listening to her discourse this morning, and she is an expert of course in terms of the psychology or how the indentureship and our people here who migrated from Bharat more than 180 plus years back. In terms of the psychological analysis. So in that context, in fact, she made some interesting references in the centrality, the importance of, how to fight the or confront the issue of depression, which you also mentioned in your comment. I think there is one concept which also probably needs a little bit of elaboration, and therefore I would request you if you could also tell us, because we have a concept of a family structure. A family is a very strong unit. I think you also mentioned in your remarks this morning. So what is this concept of Kutumba Prabodhan, and what is the concept of Samajik Samarasta, which we talk quite often, and how is it relevant in different societies? Is it something which is unique to Bharat, or it has applications in other parts of the globe as well?
See, Kutumba Prabodhan is counseling of the family, but it is in two parts. One is self-counseling, second is counseling by somebody else. So the way we do it in Bharat, and that has application even now in many other societies, because I have gone to America and some other European countries also, there they are implementing in the Hindu society. That can be done even in Caribbean countries. The two ways are, one is that every family should sit together, all the members of the family, every week. And what is my Gotra? What is my Kula Devata? What is my Aradhya Devata? What is the puja tradition in my family? All these things should be taught. And they should eat food together. They should discuss about the family tradition together, so that it is handed over in practice to the next generation. Then what are the social and national issues in that particular society? They should be also discussed. And then issues like, what are the issues behind? Somebody will have to do research, somebody will have to do some work, why people are committing suicide, or why there are interreligious marriages. Why am I mentioning this? Unfortunately, because in many places where there is an interreligious marriages, then it is the Hindu boy or girl who lives the tradition. So love is important, love should be important to everybody. But unfortunately, it seems to be more important to the Hindu boy or a girl that he or she is sacrificing the Dharma. Nobody else is sacrificing. So these situations like this, how should we think? Then thirdly, because we are living in an era of democracy. So now the birth rate or the fertility rate of Hindu is going down all over the country. There is a number called replacement rate. For any country, any community, in anywhere in the world, it is the same. It is 2.1. It is called a replacement rate. Means to how many children a woman gives birth to in her lifetime. That is called that. Why is it called replacement rate? To understand simply, if my father and mother pass away, then the members of Hindu society, the number is reduced by 2 because there are 2 deaths. But if I have 2 children in my home, then again it increases by 2, and that is why the minimum number. The point one is for some exigencies. There is no point one child. Either there is 2 children or 3 children. But this is a number like they say 0 to 6 age grade. What is a 0? 0 is no child, no life. But we say it that way. That is the way statistics speaks. But so here also, what is happening is that this issue is faced by many of the European countries now. Pew is a very big foundation, a think tank of the Christians, and they have announced their reports that how many countries in Europe will be Christian minority countries in the coming 10-20 years. And if you listen to the names of those countries, you will be surprised. Countries like England, countries like other countries. So why is this happening? The birth rate or the fertility rate of Christian women in Europe has come down to 1.6, 1.4 like that in many countries. So after a certain limit, you cannot reverse it, and then the community dies. Or it has no consequence. And Hindus must think about this. Because when you are living in democracy, the number matters. So nobody is asking to have 8, 10 children. But at least what will be our third, fourth generation will be facing, that we must think. See, this question is so complicated because we have to discuss it in the family. Yes. Issues like, see, many communities, they marry early. So they have 4 to 5 generations in 100 years. And Hindus have, like I see everywhere, they are marrying after the age of 30. So they have only 3 generations. And in big cities all over the world, the Hindus are saying that at the most 1 child, and if no child, that is also good. Then that's a problem. And that is why these issues have to be counseled to the Hindu society. So, one is discussing many of the issues about leaving religion, about not marrying, having less children, about drug addiction, about liquor addiction, about inner strength, so that we can face the society, we can face the challenges and triumph over them. That inner strength, Dharma will give, these teachings will give, and that can be imparted in these family gatherings. So that family gathering is very, very important. Then the mandirs and the leaders of the society must counsel newly married people or to be married people. That, see, there is the divorce rate is increasing. Means in the Hindu tradition, you take a shapat. At least in Bharat, they take a shapat that we will be husband and wife for 7 janma, 7 lives. And now we are not surviving for 7 years also. So, Vivaha is not a contract. It is not a contract, it is a samskar. That is the basic difference in Western thinking and Hindu thinking. Western thinking tells survival of the fittest. That is not a civilizational thinking, it is a jungle law. Hindu Sanskriti says survival of the weakest. Create a system, the weakest person has a chance to grow. So these are the values of Hindus that must be taught in the society to be Hindu. It is not only puja, it is about living. It is about our approach to the life. So all these things are important. So the newly wed people have to be counseled that many compromises have to be made. And why we should maintain our marriage. Why there should be purity in the marital life. All these things have to be explained because of the atmosphere that is there. The materialistic atmosphere. So I think Kutumba Prabodhan is that vyavastha that has used anywhere in the world, including Bharat, Guyana, everywhere. Samajik Samrastha in Bharat, it is about, we have many faults in our, society, like dowry, like casteism, like language, then different regions. we are too proud, or ahankari, egoistic about these things, and we discriminate with other people on the basis of that. So we have to rise above all these, varieties that are within us and identify with the country, with the dharma, with the Sanskriti, then we will be one. So that is Samajik Samrasta. Samaras is Ekaras. What is common in us, we should talk about that, not what is different in us. So if you keep on talking and remembering what is common to us, we will come together. The more we talk about what are the differences in us, we will stay away from each other. So that is the focus.
Thank you, Milinji. In fact, you made just now a reference to some of the challenges. In fact, probably these challenges are also something that people experience here in Guyana, especially the issue of drug addiction or alcoholism, violence, rage, and of course, like expert this morning, she mentioned in terms of some of these challenges which emerge out of the continuous stress and depression as well, or sometimes just that people are alone, they have no one to share their anguish, their thoughts with. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think Vishwa Hindu Parishad has also started some projects and some initiatives to tackle, especially the issue of drug addiction and alcoholism. So, if you could elaborate a little bit.
See, I'll give an example of Bharat because Bharat is situated between two areas. One is called the Golden Crescent. Those are the three countries. One is Iran, second is Pakistan, third is Afghanistan, which are drug producing countries. They are called the Golden Crescent. They are in the western side of Bharat. And on the eastern side of Bharat is what is called Golden Triangle. That is the Burma, Laos and Thailand. So they are also drug producing countries. So Bharat is the destination as well as the route for all these drugs. Also Bharat is a pharmaceutical giant. So there are some places illegal labs for producing synthetic drugs. And it is an international operation. So it is a criminal activity. And Bharat has a very big border. We have around 15,000 kilometers at least of land border and over 7,200 kilometers of sea border. So that is 22,000 plus kilometers. So there are deserts, there is Himalayas, there is sea, there are hills, there are forests. It is a very difficult border. And that is why from the surrounding countries there is continuously smuggling of these drugs. And the youth in Bharat are targeted by these criminal elements. So to save our generation, Vishwa Hindu Parishad's two youth wings are taking, Bajrang and Durga Vaini, we are taking up awareness campaigns. And we have already conducted around 4,000 programs in the last week. And in the coming week, we will be conducting even more programs amongst the girls as well as the boys. The school children as well as college students are targeted for this. So this awareness will help in awakening people to the danger. Because drugs and liquor, they destroy your personal life, your family life, your career and everything. They destroy you completely. So this addiction is a very, very dangerous thing. People should be made aware. There is peer pressure. So amongst the students we must talk. This is not a prestige issue. We should stay away from it. It is playing with fire. You are going to hurt. No experimentation. This is beyond experimentation. So that must be told to the youth. That is very important.
Thank you, Milinji. And I remember my colleague Rudraji mentioned that we should be now prepared to continue till midnight. And the discussion is so interesting that probably I think nearly an hour has already passed. But before I conclude, and before we conclude, Milinji, I would also like to benefit from, in terms of Vishwa Hindu Parishad's experience. And here, in fact, I must say and mention, it was mentioned during the introduction of Adaniya Swamiji, his exemplary work in the form of in the education sector, especially Saraswati Vidya Niketan. And I'm very delighted to share with you that Saraswati Vidya Niketan was one place which Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, when he visited Guyana, he made it a point to visit, and he fondly remembered his association with Swamiji and everyone else with whom he had come in contact with, and he always mentions that at that time he was not even the chief minister, not, of course not the prime minister. So that's an old association. Now my question, Milindji, is you also of course mentioned in terms of your response to one of the questions that it is important now also to speak to our younger generation in their own lingo or in a way which appeals to them, which attracts them towards our dharma. Here in Guyana, of course, we have initiatives like the Know India program and several such initiatives, especially focusing on the youth, which gives the younger generation an opportunity to visit Bharat, to see it firsthand as to what Bharat stands for. Of course, besides the progress that our country has made, the value system, and so many other things. But I think for the school children, because they are our future, they are the future generation. So, is there something which Vishwa Hindu Parishad or other like-minded organizations they are doing to focus on younger school children? What kind of projects are being undertaken? And can something of that sort be replicated here in Guyana? Or is there any way that we can also bring our school children from Guyana and other countries in the Caribbean to come and experience what different organizations like Vishwa Hindu Parishad and others are doing in the field of school education to inculcate good values, systems like Gurukul and other things?
Many Hindu organizations are working, many sadhus are working, Vishwa Hindu Parishad is also working in many countries. So starting a school like Swamiji did, schools is a very good project, hostels is a very good project. Also youth camps and children's camps, those are also very good projects. Counseling, helping them along, holding their hand in the sense so that they can progress is a very good thing. What we call Bal Vihas and Bal Sanskar Kendra. It is a weekly activity. Also, many places there is a daily activity called Shakha. So there are various types of activities where the children are engaged with, and games, stories, then geet, that is songs, and then our sanskars. There is a capsule for that. Even Vishwa Hindu Parishad has a capsule for that. Many Hindu organizations together in Bharat are running over 130,000 projects like this in the field of health, in the field of education, in the field of employment and empowerment. So variety of projects are going on. So I think such a series of projects must be started in every country, and the initiative should be from the society that is staying there. And this is, I think, the time of resurgence for Hindu society, and the most favorable time for Hindus in the last 1500 years. That is what I believe. And that is why Hindu resurgence we will see that will benefit the Hindu society as well as the whole world.
Thank you, Milindji. I can't thank you enough for your sharing your thoughts and these very interesting ideas with us.
Thank you for your good questions.
Thank you. And of course, I think our audience today, we have members of the Indian community, we have students community here. You mentioned about various organizations. So of course, we have representatives here joining us from different organizations like, of course, we have the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, we have Art of Living, we have Chinmaya Mission, we have ISKCON, we have the Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, and so many other organizations. And it always is so heartening to see that everyone comes together for any noble cause, and it contributes not only, of course, in terms of, as you mentioned, about the resurgence of the religion or dharma, but also in terms of the closer, deeper relationship between our two countries, between India, Bharat and Guyana. And I think without their contribution, without their support, I don't think the High Commission or the Cultural Centre alone can achieve that or do anything. So we are grateful to them. I'm also grateful to you and the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. I'm grateful to Swamiji and every one of you who joined us this evening. And as was mentioned that we have the rain interrupting our program this evening, I think this has in a way become a closer gathering. It has become like a Kutumba Prabodhan because we have all come together and we have discussed these issues. We have benefited a lot from what you have shared with us. Thank you. It's again an honor for us to have you amongst us.
Swamiji asked me to explain something.
Yes,
Please.
please.
He forgot to
Yes,
mention.
yes, please.
He said that the Vande Mataram was amputated. And there was a question there also, how many standards are officially recognized? That refers to the same amputation that Pujya Swamiji mentioned. Actually, as he said, that country was partitioned and it was indicated that it may go in that direction when they amputated the Vande Mataram. Because as some of the questions said that it is about patriotism, it is about devotion and thinking of your country as a motherland. The devotion part was to the motherland also as a land, and that is what the first two stanzas deal with. But then what Sri Bankim Chandraji did was that he brought the spiritual aspect to it. That is what we have written here also. That it is a spiritual and a patriotic ode. So that spiritual part was depicted by calling Bharat Mata as a Durga. Ripudala Varinim. That is what is said. That who will destroy the enemies of this country, of the society. And that was objected to by people who went to Pakistan or who did not go to Pakistan, they should have gone. So they objected to that, and that is why unfortunately that time's political leadership bowed against that pressure. That was the unfortunate part that happened. But this is very good that the political dispensation that is in power in today in Bharat, they have started to celebrate this 150 years so that this has come into everybody's mind what is the topic. So this is a spiritual as well as a patriotic gift, but it is more than a gift. It is like a prayer to the Hindu, it is like a mantra to the Hindu. And some people may think that Vande Mataram suddenly became mantra. It is not that. It is because the Hindus always thought of the motherland as a goddess, as a living deity. That is what they thought. Yogi Arvindji has said that this is not a piece of land. This is an actual goddess. Bharat Mata is an actual goddess. And in his ashram, if you go to Pondicherry, he prayed to the Chitra of Akhanda Bharat. That was the Bharat Mata. So that is the feeling of the whole society. And that is why right after writing the Geet, it became a mantra because that was the sanskar of the Hindu society. That is the sanskar of Hindu society.
Thank you. Dhanyavad. And I would like to thank the entire audience as well for your patience. Thank you.